This is the Flanders family. We're going to use them as an example as we explore some important concepts in genetics. So we can look at some of the traits the Flanders have. This is Ned Flanders, Maud Flanders, and their two kids. So let's look specifically at one of the traits that Ned and Maud show. And for this, we're going to make some assumptions. We're going to assume that curly hair is dominant. So what is the phenotype of Ned here? Well, his hair is not curly. That's what we see when we look at him. His hair is not curly. Maud, on the other hand, does have curly hair. So those are their phenotypes. But what are their genotypes? What are the actual genes that they have? Well, because curly hair is dominant and Ned's hair is not curly, we know that he has both of the recessive alleles. That's what his genotype is. Now there, you could write out he has two recessive alleles for not curly hair or something like that, or you could come up with some symbols, and that's often what we do when we're trying to describe a genetics situation. So we come up with some symbols. So for this example, I'm going to use the symbol of a little c to show recessive, and another little c because he has two alleles. Everyone's got two alleles for each gene. Maud, on the other hand, she does have curly hair, and so I'm going to put a big C because I know she has at least one of her alleles that has the dominant version of the gene because she has curly hair. I don't know about this other allele. It could be dominant, it could be recessive. I don't know. So that's kind of an unknown at this point. So let's make some more assumptions. We do know that Ned's genotype is little c, little c. Let's assume that Maud's genotype is big C, little c. If that is the case, what are the possible gametes that Ned and Maud can produce? Well, Ned can donate either the little c or the little c to the gametes he produces. So those are the two options he has. Maud, on the other hand, she could donate the big C or the little c. Those are the two options she has. So based on these assumptions that Maud is heterozygous, has a big C, little c, what are the possible genotypes for the Flanders children? Well, we have to look at all the possibilities, explore the possible combinations. So the possible gametes, they could get a little c from dad or a little c from dad. And from mom, they could get a big C or a little c. So those are the possible gametes being contributed. What are the possible combinations? So you could look at, okay, this one could go with that one, or no, it could go with that one. This second little c could go with that one. So as you see, you could get some complicated lines being drawn. So one way to simplify this, or one tool you can use to help yourself understand this, is what's called a Punnett square. This helps us see all the possible combinations. So in the Punnett square, you look at the possible gametes created. So here are Ned's gametes. He can do a little c or a little c. Maud can contribute a big C or a little c. That is what the possible gametes are. And you put those possible gametes at the top of each row or at the side of each row, depending on how you've lined it up. So now you look at the column and the row to combine those different gametes to come up with all possible combinations. So you could get a big C from Maud, little c from Ned, big C from Maud, little c from Ned, little c from Maud, little c from Ned, little c from Maud, little c from Ned. So those are all the possible combinations of gametes for this particular trait from Ned and Maud. Now remember, at the beginning we made an assumption about Maud's genotype. We didn't actually know if she had a little c or if she had two big C's. So let's go back and change our assumption. Let's assume that Maud is homozygous dominant for this particular genotype. In this case, the possible gametes for Ned are the same, little c or little c. The possible gametes for Maud are now big C or big C. Can you use a Punnett square to determine the possible combinations for the Flanders children? So combine the rows and columns, you get big C, little c, big C, little c, big C, little c, big C, little c. Those are the possible combinations, assuming that mod is indeed homozygous dominant for this trait. So again, we've put the gametes for each of these individuals to create this Punnett square, but where did these gametes come from? Well, gametes are produced through the process of meiosis, which hopefully sounds familiar. This process of meiosis is where the cell goes through cell division, goes through 2 rounds, producing 4 cells. Those cells that are produced have half the genetic material, so the homologous chromosomes have split. So let's look a little bit more closely and kind of layer our curly and straight hair Flanders family trait on top of this process of meiosis. What we see is Mendel's law of segregation in action. So in this case, if this is Maud and Maud is heterozygous, when her cells go through meiosis, one of the homologous pairs has the big C, the other homologous pair has a little c, and that pair separates during anaphase 1 of meiosis. And they go their separate ways. So that big C goes this way to one cell, the little c goes this way to another cell, and that is where they segregate or separate, and that is why they end up in different gametes. And that allows for the separation of those traits and the equal division of that trait between the gametes.